Hello, my name is James Wright and I'm a buildings archaeologist from Triskele Heritage, and we have won some funding from the Castle Studies Trust to survey Greasley Castle in Nottinghamshire, which is standing directly behind me at the moment. I am in the moat of what was once a 1340s, mid-14th century fortified house which was owned and patronised by Nicholas de Cantelupe, who was an important regional power. He was a sheriff of Nottingham, he fought in the French wars, he fought in Scotland. He was an important big cheese in Nottinghamshire and the East Midlands. And in the 1340s he had this house built for him, and we are here to try and unpick the structural phasing of that building. So I'm stood here in the moat. You can probably see the embankments, you can see the curtain wall behind me. And we're going to try and show you now some of our findings to date. So I'm stood now in the castle farmyard. The property was turned into a farm in the post-medieval period. The site declined somewhat in the 16th and 17th century, but you can see that it's a working farm. There's lots of stone and brick buildings behind me, and it's this doorway behind that we're going to enter through now and have a look at some of the remains of one of the most high status parts of the castle. So here we are inside that building now, and as I'm sure you can probably see and appreciate, just behind me there is this amazing arched doorway. It's very, very high status. It's got wave mouldings on it, and it dates from the middle years of the 14th century. And it almost certainly enters into what was probably a hall range, so the most high status area of the site. And immediately to one side of that arch, you can probably see up here is an adjacent window. So we've got a tracery window up there, which was once much bigger than this fragmentary remain. I'm giving you a slightly different view of that window now, because I want to spin round and show you the evidence for another window that we found as well, which is adjacent to that one. So if we come round here, you should be able to see some cut-out sections there. There's some rebated masonry directly behind me, and what you're seeing there is a window that has been removed, so the tracery's gone, and then it's been filled in. So we've got a blocked window, as we've got a blocked window to one side, and there's just a tiny bit of the transom, so the horizontal piece of the window surviving in situ there. So we've got two windows next to each other, and in order to understand exactly what's going on the interior, I'm going to take you round the corner now, and we're going to have a look at what's on the other side of that wall. So now we're stood outside of the structures that we were just looking at, and we have to get our heads around the fact that we're now outside, but once we would have been inside in the medieval period. So what we're looking at here is the straight joints in the masonry, the blocked windows that we saw on the other side, but between them at this level here there's also a blocked fireplace. So you may be able to see the straight joints in that masonry, which are revealing the block windows and a blocked fireplace. And we think that we would probably have had an arrangement something similar to Haddon Hall, which is not too far from this site, where you've got a main door into a hall range, a couple of windows flanking a fireplace. Still, interpretation is in very early days at the moment, but what we can say is adjacent to this surviving evidence for what's probably a hall, we have another structure which is probably just hoving into view behind me here, which is a lean-to structure. But part of that structure, if we come over here, is a beautiful rebated door. Now again, this is an in-situ structure. It's been built around as part of the post-medieval farm, but what we would have had is an entrance from the hall range, which is behind me, into a chamber. So we're coming through a door into a chamber, and we've got just a little bit of evidence in the wall above here at, let me just get my hand right, that level there, there's a ledge, which was probably to hold the floor structure. So the timber floor structure is coming off that ledge there. And then if you come round back down into the moat area where we started the video, you should be able to see behind me now, this is that curtain wall and the moat area where we started, where we looked at. We've also got a tiny bit of evidence behind that tree for a turret. So there was originally a turret which came out, which probably linked in with that chamber. And there's a tiny little projection of stone, which I can't really show you because it's behind the tree and it's quite difficult to see. But just trust me, take my word for it, that we've got a turret, a towered space behind a chamber, which is off a haul range. So it's all quite exciting stuff at the moment. We're still really early in the survey. This is only our second day on site, but we do seem to be starting to unpick some of the structural history and architectural phasing of Greasley Castle. So stick with us and we'll come back to you in a few more days when we know a little bit more about Greasley Castle in Nottinghamshire.